Now, everything old is new again. America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Little people, you're worth a fortune.
Sunday night on this station, a nightmare comes your way on Land of the Giants.
Welcome to Everything Old is New Again. This is Douglas Viviani with the rather colossal David Cohen. Because we are discussing all things big, right?
Bigger.
Because last week we took a look at the incredible shrinking movies.
Yes.
And currently led by, of course, the Ant-Man phenomenon and a little bit by the Atom in that TV show, what's it called? Justice of Tomorrow? What's it called again? Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
But there's been a development here. On July 1st, Steven Spielberg, who has directed a movie called BFG, which is Big Friendly Giant, will be released. One of our most successful directors of all time takes on the giant story. He also previously did, remember what we talked about last week, Inner Space, and that's a story about, resizing on the small level. So is this movie, the BFG, is it going to be a big hit?
It was a big book. It was a very popular children's book. It's been around for a long time.
Right.
Younger people's books, I should say, not children's.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I guess
Roald Dahl.
Yes,
Roald Dahl.
His estate gave Steven Spielberg the right to do this movie, which they held back a long time. So I presume it's going to be done well. But what's the continued fascination with all things being resized, and why now when we took a look at giants? Why are giants of any interest? I mean, it was in Harry Potter. You saw the giants, right?
Sure. Well, it makes sense. If we have a fascination with watching people get really tiny, we should probably have a fascination with watching people get, huge. Because when you become tiny, everything around you it's all proportional, right? Is huge. So it makes sense.
But when you get big, you become a monster. It's a total different thing.
Right.
You get angry at the world. You're not, you're not into the whole thing. You're stepping on stuff. You're like Godzilla walking over.
This title is Big Friendly Giant. So is that always?
Well,
the
do you know
case?
the story? It's not really friendly.
No, I know.
These giants are eating young kids.
Yes.
And there's one giant that fights
permission,
this trend.
Without permission, which is really wrong.
But if we take a look at this, it started, this business of giants, with Gulliver's Travels in 1726. Jonathan Swift.
Right, where they tied the giant down. Right.
Exactly. I'm not a huge fan of it, but Jack Black did do a movie in 2010, Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah.
Tried to redo it.
For the first time in his life, people are looking up to him.
I'm starting to love this place.
Don't you miss your subjects? And the White House and the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, but Vice President Yoda can run things without me for a while.
But just when he thought he found his place, they found out who he really was.
Sorry, I'm just a guy from the mailroom.
Gulliver's Travels.
I mean, it had a different take on it. It added some comedy to it. It tried to.
You can't make this genre the way it's different than The Shrinking Bird. You cannot make a comedy of being too big.
Really,
because you become a monster. No matter how you slice it, you can't make a funny monster.
But he used that monster to battle the forces of evil against the Lilliputians,
Right, but it tried to be a comedy, and it failed.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Either you're going to be a comedy, you're going to be serious, and I think they tried to be both in that. And they're trying to be faithful to the original Gulliver's Travels, which is a classic book, but I don't know, just didn't capture my fancy.
But you just said it. You become really large, you're going to be angry, mad, ticked off. And
you're going to be pretty hungry, man. I mean, he ate, in the book, in Gulliver's Travels, Gulliver ate one meal was 1,000 Lilliputians meals. Right. So how do you sustain that, too? Think about just that
alone.
alone.
It's high in protein, but yeah, I think that...
well, not the Lilliputians. I'm talking about their meals. He ate 1,000 of their meals.
Oh, he should have gone for the Lilliputians.
Well, then he'd have no subjects.
They're more filling, I think.
Alice in Wonderland had fun with it.
One good turn deserves another. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm looking for a white rabbit, so, if you don't mind...
Eh? Oh!
There he is! I simply must get through!
Sorry, you're much too big. Simply impassable.
You mean impossible?
No, impassable. Nothing's impossible.
Nothing's impossible in Alice in Wonderland. 1865 that novel was. And as you know...
Before drugs.
Yes, Tim Burton and Johnny Depp did a movie 2010, which now has a sequel coming out this year, too.
Yeah.
So, Alice in Wonderland's got an interesting take on it. She gets small and big.
Yes.
She has trouble in both. Yep.
When she's 10 feet tall. Okay. Jefferson Airplane.
Oh, well, I could have put a clip in there if you would have added that input into the preparation of the show.
Right, just show me the outline, more than an hour before we go on air. Could have helped you.
It's possible. The Amazing Colossal Man, 1957, finally brought the big giant man, if you will. Now, this was a man, not just humankind. This was a man, big giant madman in Las Vegas, wreaking havoc.
She's a girl who loved a man. A man who, in a flash, became a living threat to humanity.
Glenn Manning is growing from 8 to 10 feet a day. At the moment, he's 18 feet tall. Tomorrow, he'll be 26 feet. The next day, 35, maybe 40, and the next day...
But you've got to stop it!
For the immeasurable power of this ever-growing mammoth portends a fate that terrifies the universe. A man once loved by a woman, now feared by the whole world.
A 60-foot giant in the streets of Las Vegas.
Now, the only problem I have with this movie is a 60-foot giant in the streets of Las Vegas, quite frankly, would go unmolested. No one would even know the guy's there. Everybody's gambling. Everybody's at shows. No one is walking the streets of Las Vegas.
Plus, there aren't that many streets in Las Vegas.
Right.
When you get off, I guess he's off the Strip. Once you're off the Strip, you have plenty of desert land to walk around in. Why do you have to hang out by the Strip?
Right, exactly. He's not going to be touching any dice. He's not going to be playing cards. Nothing. It's too small. So
I love how the guy says he's going to grow 8 to 10 feet every day, and then he starts giving you examples of how tall he'll be. Yes, we get it. And then we can do that math.
The love interest says, "We got to stop him.
We have to. Well, we have to stop him."
This was the state of the art.
Think of that.
1957. What if you didn't stop growing? What would think about that? If you didn't stop growing, sooner or later you would be larger than Earth and you'd die. Right?
Yeah.
You couldn't drink it, eat any air, have any air. You couldn't eat anything.
Floating around in space.
So that's kind of horrifying. Not stopping growing large.
Right. Well, once you get out of the Earth's atmosphere, there's no oxygen.
Right. So then
what?
It's a death sentence. Getting small, while horrifying too, you don't die.
Well, apparently, though, you can get to a really small enough state where, believe it or not, the oxygen molecules are too large.
Interesting.
Too large to breathe in. That's another problem with getting small. Not that it could ever happen. But getting large, there's got to be something with that too, where the air is too thin, or But basically, you're doomed. Is what it comes down to.
Getting large is not enough food. Let's face it. There's no. What are you going to eat?
Plus, every step you take, you're killing millions of people, right? You got to feel a little guilty.
Well, every step you kill a couple of people. Sooner or later, you run a mile, you'll kill a million, something like that.
That's true.
If
you lay down,
maybe you live in a desert. Maybe you just stay in the Mojave Desert, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a problem getting big.
It is a problem.
It really is a problem. Something that
we've established. I think we fully established the fact that, yes, being 80 feet tall is a problem.
It's a problem. We're going to dive into this theory.
Right.
Next section. I'm going to give you the floor for 8 minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to tell me, what would you do if you got big? Why is it a problem? How does it affect your life, and how is it different compared to getting small? Which is better, getting big or getting small? Which would you think would be better?
Probably
the tough one.
Yeah, it is tough. I think getting small is a little easier.
Well, at least you wouldn't go hungry. Let's presume you stop at some point. You get small and you stop, and you get big and you stop. Not this ad infinitum stuff.
Yeah, I think still think small would be easier.
More horrifying though. And everything can eat you.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll have time later to
follow that up with everything old is new again.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show, with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
This is Terrence Winter, writer and executive producer of The Sopranos, creator and executive producer of Boardwalk Empire, and the new Vinyl on HBO. And you're listening to my friends Douglas Viviani and David Cohen on Everything Old is New Again.
There you go, Terry Winter, our guy. He's going to be the new executive producer, writer of our new series, the reboot of Land of the Giants. Or not. Probably not.
I'm sure he'll jump at the chance.
We're just throwing that out there.
So, all right.
Yeah.
So we were talking about, like, what would you do if you were, like, 100 feet tall? And it was irreversible. You couldn't...
Well, then I would suggest that you would become, like, the king of the planet. You're huge. You just make people get you, food. I don't know what else you do for fun.
First of all, how could you hear them, right? I mean, are you that? I think you're that big where they can be talking to you and you can't.
That's
hear
possible.
them. Plus, where are you going to watch Game of Thrones, right? So that's going to suck big time.
Right. You make your own Game of Thrones. You are going to be the giant that everyone fears, the naked giant. Because where are you going to get the clothes from?
Oh, yes, you'll be completely naked. That's right.
Yeah.
But the good thing is you won't be able to hear people laughing at you. So,
well, you could take a bath, so to speak, in the Atlantic Ocean and watch the cruise ships go by and sort of play with them like as you have, like you're a little
toys
kid.
in the bathtub.
I mean, it's horrifying. It's not a lot of fun. I would think getting both of them would get you upset. I think getting larger without a hope of getting smaller would get you more upset.
I think so too, because if you get small. But you have maybe friends or family that see you.
Right.
They could at least care for you in some way.
Right. Give you like a matchbox. You ever see those little the box itself?
Yeah.
Make a bed out of that and put you in there. And you could do something. But this is what would happen or does happen when a woman who's being cheated on sees an alien in the desert that touches her. And then, in fact, as a result of being touched by this alien, she becomes the 50-foot woman.
What she saw was beyond belief until others, too, faced its hideous, uncontrollable menace. Attack of the 50-foot woman, incredibly huge, with incredible desires for love and vengeance.
So she's married. Listen to this now.
Yeah.
This is the great story. She's married. She's in the desert, as I explained. She gets touched by this alien, which is bizarre, and it makes her grow. Her husband is cheating on her with his secretary. This 50-foot woman in 1958 knows where the secretary and husband are at a bar. She rips the top of the building off and reaches in and gets revenge upon them as the 50-foot woman. Like, is that the only thing, or is that maybe that's the first thing you would do as the 50-foot woman? But does she have hopes of winning the husband back by doing that? I don't.
What does she do? Did she kill them both, or does she?
I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Well, they did a remake of that.
They sure did.
10 years ago,
Hannah,
right?
Yep.
Weren't there two 50-foot women in that movie?
I don't remember.
I think there were.
There were. Okay.
It was crazy.
But that's what's on your mind.
So you can
that's the thing that's on your mind.
Right, that's what you're going to do.
I'm 50 feet tall. I can't get a meal. I'm wearing nonsense. I don't know what I'm wearing. A little, circus tent. And I'm going to look for my husband so I can see him cheating at the bar. I'm going to rip off the top of the bar to look in and see little people. That's what's on your mind?
What did Shakespeare say? There's something than a woman scorned?
Yeah, I mean, that's unreal.
Hell hath no fury like that of a woman scorned.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so now assuming that you're not in that kind of relationship, you were saying before that if you're that tall, you might as well just off yourself, right? Because you're going to be hurting people. You're going to end up dying anyway.
No, you said I would never do that. I would try to live.
Do?
Well, I would become I would really enjoy, like, by the equator or in the ocean, in the water. I would stay in the water a lot of the time because this is not an issue at all. The main problem is food.
And you have no clothes, right?
So you stay in the ocean. You're floating around all day long. You're having a nice time. The question is, maybe you could, reach in for sharks and things. I don't know. What are you going to do for
reach
food?
In for sharks?
Reach in and reach down 100 feet down and get some sharks and
you're going to basically
whales.
You're going to eat a whale.
Yeah, you're going to eat a whale, right?
Okay, it's like a protein bar for you.
Exactly. Maybe swim up to Hawaii, and Hawaii will be like your dinner table.
Not to get disgusting, but here's another thought.
Yes.
Where are the bathrooms?
That's why you're in the Atlantic Ocean.
So that won't change.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's what it's all about. Or you could do this. They've approached this topic on The Twilight Zone in an episode called The Little People, where an astronaut landed on a planet, and as opposed to Land of the Giants, where you were small, this astronaut was huge and was able to then, like Gulliver in a way, he ruled the society of these little people on this planet. But then he became very nasty. He was not a benevolent guy. He was absolute power, corrupts absolutely. We've heard that before. So that's what happens there, and then this is the end to that Twilight Zone episode, The Little People.
Go away! You can't stay here! Go away! Don't you understand? I'm the God!
Where you go? Man. Tiny little man.
Well, you crushed me.
I didn't mean to. Say, do you suppose any more of them down there?
I don't know what's the difference. We're not here exploring. We're here making repairs. Come on, let's get out of here.
How about that? So if you could visualize that, the astronaut is the god, so to speak, of this planet because he's so big with these little people. He actually made them build a statue of him. And then, all of a sudden, other aliens land on this planet that are twice the size, or I guess 6 times the size of this guy. And they see him, and they pick him up, and they touch him, and they kill him by mistake. And those giants are like, yeah, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're not explorers. We're here to fix the problem. Let's get out of here. Some other problem. And so it's all, relative, just like Dr. Seuss did with Horton Hears a Who, you know. So that's the thing. You could become a benevolent or an evil ruler of these little people, but sooner or later, it's just not gonna cut it for you.
No.
What are you gonna do for entertainment?
I'd rather. Right, exactly. There's nothing to do for entertainment. You can't watch TV, which for me would be the ultimate death sentence. But I'd still rather be small, and I'll tell you why.
All right.
Because I think when you become smaller, you have a better chance of, especially if you're around friends or family, of someone seeing you and making sure nothing happens to you. So, they could feed you, they could care for you.
Right.
But when you're that big, no one could do anything for you. You
can watch TV
own.
when you're little.
Right. I mean,
talk about big screen TVs.
Oh, wow, that's really big screen. Yeah, exactly. IMAX would be out because forget it. Right?
Yeah.
So you'd have to go to a little theater, or maybe just watch on someone's iPhone. That would be your IMAX.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I mean, that actually wouldn't be such a bad life.
I'm kind of liking the little thing now.
Yeah, the little thing's not so bad. You sleep in a matchbox. You have a little iPhone for your entertainment.
As long as someone's caring for you,
and as long as somebody's you don't need that much food. I mean, really,
that's the key. I think
1 slice of cheese will last like a week and a half. Those little individual slices.
Right.
I mean, what else would you eat?
You don't need much, right? When your family is eating dinner, you just go on the table and just eat the crumbs. That's really all you need to sustain
But what
yourself.
are you? I mean, that sounds like a lot of people that are just graduating college now, just looking for a job, or maybe down in the basement hanging out watching TV.
So they're like normal size shrunken people. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, well, where do you go from there? I mean, I don't know.
If we shrunk you, you wouldn't be any different.
Right.
You're still mooching off us. We still got to take care of you.
You'd still be watching TV on your iPhone. On your iPhone.
Right.
Where are you going with this? I mean, at some point, you gotta think about your value. What are you gonna do?
When are you gonna grow up? I can't grow up.
When we get back, we're gonna enjoy more things and all things big in the entertainment field, and everything old is new again. Listen to that, Twilight Zone. They covered these issues great, didn't they? Twilight Zone.
They did.
How's that sound?
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything old is new again, with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
I tell you, gentlemen, science has agreed that unless something is done and done quickly, man, as the dominant species of life on Earth, will be extinct within a year. Because in one moment of history-making violence, nature, mad, rampant, wrought its most awesome creation. For born in that swirling inferno of radioactive dust were things so horrible, so terrifying, so hideous,
There is no word to describe them.
Wow, that sounds like your in-laws are on the way over. But other than that, that is a little piece of coming attraction for them. Do you remember this movie? Any idea? 1954, Giant. What are they?
Yes, Giant Ants.
What a great movie, huh? James Whitmore. Remember that? No.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh,
I've never seen them.
I was such a fan of all of these monsters, these big animals, basically, that got huge. And this is Everything Old is New Again. I was still investigating the resizing type of movies. Now, up till now, we've talked about men and women.
Right.
Or humans. We haven't talked about, and I'm going to stray a little bit here, because I really enjoy a Saturday afternoon turning on these big monster movies from whether it's King Kong or Godzilla or these movies from Japan. But they're not around all that much anymore. Have you seen too many of them or no?
No, you mean these old movies?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
They don't play them so much.
Because they're not that good.
But they're fun. I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed them. So I think that's
definitely your thing.
That is my thing. I know them so well. I can't believe how well I know these animals. I would just say that this is something that's right up my alley because I grew up with it.
Yeah. Well, I knew that about you, and so what I did, since I knew we were going to be talking about this at some point, I have a little quiz for you.
Ah.
Yes, and the quiz it's an audio quiz because we're on the radio.
Yes.
But it's going to be sounds of famous giant monsters. Just the sounds. And I'm going to play each one because I have a pretty good idea that you're going to know each monster's name based on the sound that you hear.
And that's because of my misspent youth. There are kids that people know baseball, although I know baseball pretty good too, but all this useless information from what you did as a kid, all the Bowery Boys movies, all the Abbott Costello stuff, whatever you've done as a little kid. This was really, besides Abbott Costello, this was like if Abbott Costello was a rerun, the movie I've seen already, I went right to these. These were never-ending, always a lot of fun. So I'm interested in this challenge. Yeah. I don't know if I could do it. I have no idea, but let's. All
right. Well,
let's see
it'll be interesting to see. So, all right, let's start with this first clip. See if you know who this is.
Wow. Oh, boy. Ow.
Do you know it?
I feel like all of Northport just got blown off the map. It's pretty loud. Yes, I mean, let's put it this way. I'm trying to put it together. Those are giant grasshoppers. You can tell that sound for sure, right?
Yes.
That sound. So listen to that. You hear it? That's a giant grasshopper.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that it's a Peter Gray's movie, the guy from Mission Impossible. Remember him?
Right. Yep. You're on the right track.
It was a takeoff of the one we just saw. Them. I think it was.
It'd be great if we just cut the sound so that